Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a lower max workout. So my variation for this week was a 3-inch block pull. Now, all of my max effort deadlifts recently have been banded, and the reason for that is band tension really helps you work out on lockout. So that is my weakness when deadlifting. I have had lockout issues, and today I wanted to test to see if my lockout had got stronger. So that's why I'm doing this 3-inch block pull just with straight weight. So my previous best on this was 270 kilos, which I have actually pulled from the floor now in competition. So here I went for 280 and I managed to hit it. There was slight balancing issues. You'll have seen I fell sort of back a bit and my toes lifted off the ground. But other than that, there wasn't any hitching and my lockout has definitely got stronger. So that is a great positive. So I could have maybe gone up from there, but I felt like there was no point. So I spoke about this last video in my upper max workout, but once you have clocked a good max effort within the conjugate system, there is no point pushing further. So 280 kilos will still have provided large neurological adaptations, and it also gave me the information I needed to know, which is that my lockout power is increasing and I'm starting to be able to address that weakness with all of my training. So that is two massive positives, and it is better to just move on and then maybe come back a different day and then reattempt that and maybe hit 290 kilos in the future. So that is why I decided to leave things there, but I was very happy with that max effort. So moving on to the accessories here, my first accessory was Good Mornings with my safety squat bar. This is my new favorite, like hip hinging movement. I feel like it's really working on the posterior chain, my glutes, hamstrings, and my lower back. So you'll see my lower back rounds a little bit each rep. That is on purpose to help work the lower back through a slight range of motion and just really target it because I want to strengthen it. The main reason I fail my squats is through caving forward, and I think the reason I'd failed my deadlifts at the top was I didn't have strong enough back extension to help lock out the weight. However, as I've just proved in my max effort, that is getting better, and I attribute a lot of that to this exercise. So I did 2 sets there. I think the first set I got a set of 10, which is a massive PR, and then the second set I got a set of 8, which to be honest I think still might be more than I've ever done. I can't quite remember what I've done before at 150 kilos, but I think it was only a set of 6. So I probably pushed that a bit too hard. The first set of 10 felt unbelievably hard, so I did take a long rest. I took like 6 minutes rest in between those sets, which is much longer than I'd normally do, but I feel like that accessory is giving me a lot of bang for my buck. Like I explained, it's helping not cave forward in squats and my lockouts with deadlifts and my back extension in particular. So I was very happy with them. Then I moved on to single leg quad extension. So I went at 60 pounds last week on my first week of my 3-week wave, the first week back from my deload. I like to go the heaviest, and I did sets of 8, I think, or were they sets of 6? I believe they were sets of 8 at 80 pounds. So this week I dropped the weight down a little bit to 60 pounds, and I was trying to get at least sets of like 10 or 12. I think I got sets of 15, but the last couple of reps on the right hand side were a bit dodgy. Now my left hand side here, you'll be able to see it hits the sets of 15 way more comfortably. It is much stronger, and that is, of course, if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know this, but because I've worked through a right knee injury. So the right knee is just getting back to full strength. It is not painful all the time now. I can squat again. I am so happy with the progress the right knee has made, and even just being able to move this weight at all. Like I couldn't do quad extensions with 20 pounds without it being absolute agony. I couldn't walk. I couldn't like go upstairs or downstairs in particular. So the knee has come so far, but that is why it is weaker than the left side. Naturally, it still has to catch up, and it's doing good. I believe it will be there soon. On the first set, I still felt the knee a little bit. It felt stiff more than painful. On this second set, the lack of reps there was just weakness. I tried to go for the set of 15, but once there was blood in the muscle from the first set, like my knee suffered no pain whatsoever or stiffness on that second set. So the knee is definitely coming back and pain-free, but like I say, it will take a little bit of time in order for it to match the left hand side, and that is of course, by the way, why I'm doing single leg quad extensions at the moment, because when you do dual leg quad extensions, obviously the left leg, I think I was doing this for a while as well, was helping move most of the weight. So I was training it unevenly, but because the quad extension moves up as one, you can't really tell that. So if you do quad extensions or hamstring curls a lot, or things like Smith machine work, one side of your body can be taking over. So I advise you try like unilateral single-sided exercise just to check whether you do have an imbalance. Most people do, even if you're not injured, and you could maybe try to address it. Doing single-sided work is always great. So moving on to the next accessory here, it was calf raises with 150 kilos. I got 2 sets of 10 on this 4-inch elevated block. So my calf strength, I think, has really come on during this series. 150 kilos used to be like right at the top end, and I used to do that flat off the floor because that's a slightly easier calf raise variation. It has less of a stretch on the calf and has a shorter range of motion. But here I was able to get 2 sets of 10 off that elevated block, and these pumped up the calves massively. So I was very happy with those. Then moving on to the penultimate exercise. By this stage of the workout, I was feeling very tired. That deadlift really took it out of me. Obviously, the neurological impact of just deadlifting like 280 kilos or 617 pounds is a lot. And then those heavy good mornings, I was feeling pretty cooked here. So I decided to do a variation that wasn't too difficult on hip abductions with the roller. I actually really love doing this with the roller like this rather than just a free band. So I also do just regular banded ones where I sort of kick out the leg to the side. But the reason this is so good is you don't have to worry about fighting gravity with your weight. You can ground both feet against the floor and just think of pushing out. It is much more like a sort of hip abduction machine that you would find in a gym. When you're kicking your leg out to the side, you're also having to sort of stabilize, otherwise you would fall over to the side that you're kicking out at. So here you could just let your weight relax in and just think of pushing out against the band. So I think I did 2 sets of 15, 1 set each side. So on this exercise, it works both abductors, both sides. I just do 1 set each side to make sure that everything's absolutely even. But to be honest, the standing leg I actually find is working more. I find that with my standing leg, I'm pushing into that to try and drive the leg that's on the roller away. So it's sort of the opposite way to the way you would think. But really, both abductors are working. I definitely felt a big pump in the outside of my glutes and in my abductors when doing this, and it felt effective, but I didn't push myself to absolute failure. Like I said, I was feeling very taxed from this workout in general, so I just decided to do some easy last 2 accessories here, and leading on from that, I decided just to do a grip exercise. So I have a miscellaneous lower workout, miscellaneous lower exercise programmed for this last exercise, and sometimes I decide to just work on grip for my deadlift. So you'll have noticed I use straps in my max. That was because I wanted to test whether my like hip and back extension was strong enough to lock out the weight. I could have done it. Grip is not normally an issue for me, but it just gets very messy with max efforts each week because I have to use loads of chalk, but I still want to strengthen my grip and make sure that I'm not going to fail my deadlifts due to grip. That is the most frustrating things for lifters. So here I'm just working on some crushing strength. I'm using the Captains of Crush 2, and I think I got a set of 10 on each side for the first set, which is a massive PR. I think I was only doing them for sets of 5 a while ago, and then on this second set I think I do a set of 8 each side. However, the real test when you're doing grippers, by the way, particularly Captains of Crush, is to try and get the 2 handles to meet, and on this left side, particularly on this second set, I think I was just missing for most of the reps by a few millimeters, and then at the end I was like nowhere near close. I was like half an inch away. But that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff, and have a great day.